We now turn to John Lennon's regrettably short-lived solo career as part of this overview of 1970s hits that failed to crack the Billboard Pop Top 10. As in earlier sections, I'll bend my own guidelines slightly by starting in 1969. That was the year John issued his first post-Beatles singles that were more accessible to mainstream listeners, unlike his earlier experimental projects with Yoko Ono. Those avant-garde releases included two versions from 1968, a record that famously attracted attention for presenting both artists unclothed, rather than for its musical appeal. Give Peace a Chance, peaking at number 14, stands out as a Plastic Ono Band anthem with a notable connection to Montreal. The track was recorded partly at the Queen Elizabeth Hotel, and partly at a local studio where additional overdubs were completed. At this point, it's hard to resist a small aside for Beatles historians writing in English. Referring to the recording venue by its French name is unnecessary unless the text itself is in French. This habit among English-language writers has always been a bit perplexing. Musically, the song's repetitive, chant-like chorus works well as a communal sing-along and is undeniably effective in that sense. However, the verses consist largely of loosely assembled phrases that offer little melodic or lyrical substance. The overall sound quality is mediocre, and the track arguably runs longer than it needs to. Lennon himself may have come to a similar conclusion later on. When he curated his 1975 Shaved Fish compilation, only short excerpts of the song were included. About a minute of the original single at the opening, followed by a brief segment from the 1972 1-to-1 benefit concert at the album's conclusion. Next, we arrive at a song that may have played a direct role in accelerating the Beatles' breakup. Accounts from recent years suggest that in September 1969, shortly before Lennon informed the band that he wanted to leave, he was still discussing potential future releases. These plans reportedly included a Christmas season single and an album structured around 4 songs each from John, Paul, and George, with 2 contributions from Ringo if he chose to participate. The proposal was met with little enthusiasm from the others, with Ringo absent from the discussion altogether. The holiday single Lennon had in mind was not a conventional seasonal tune, but Cold Turkey. A stark and unfiltered depiction of his struggle with heroin withdrawal, punctuated by raw, agonized screams. The band rejected the idea of releasing it collectively, prompting Lennon to abandon the group approach and issue the track himself under the Plastic Ono band name. This episode may have marked one of the final turning points in his commitment to the Beatles. As a recording, Cold Turkey remains one of Lennon's strongest solo singles in my view. It captures the gritty rock and roll edge he longed to pursue outside the Beatles, making it unfortunate that he did not consistently follow that direction in his solo output. The track could even be described as a total performance, given that Ringo Starr handled the drums. While its relatively modest chart performance might seem to validate the remaining Beatles' decision not to back it as a group, it's hard not to think it would have fared better under the Beatles banner. A collective release would have generated significant attention and likely courted controversy, possibly even a BBC ban in the UK. Earlier that same year, after all, the band had already released a single containing provocative religious references. Issuing Cold Turkey as a Beatles record would have been a bold move, one that might have prolonged the group's existence, if only briefly.